Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Josh. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Well, I don't know if I'm good. I
Really?
answered that quickly. I think I'm good,
Yeah.
but I want to be more authentic. We've been talking about that in our Adventures in Faith. Don't just rush.
Right.
So I'm good, but a little tender.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be in fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about for you, but it feels like time got put in a washer machine cycle and it's just not quite done. And like I've lost it. And some days it's just kind of like wandering around. What's been going on these last couple years and what year is it? And there's a little bit of nostalgia and sentimentality, but also just kind of like, I lost my ice cream cone and now I'm wandering around the sidewalk. Yeah, it sounds like there's a spaceship landing.
Yeah. They're coming to take us away. Oh my. Yeah.
Very good for Halloween.
Yeah, I totally I don't know if you're talking about like time just feels like it's going so fast. I don't know how all of a sudden we're at the almost end of October. How did that happen? I just don't quite get it.
Yes.
It's shocking.
It is. I think some of it's the pandemic, and then some of it's like just living on shuffle like we do with our iPods and iPhones and all of that kind of stuff. So everything just feels all mixed together sometimes. But it's so important and helpful when we rediscover our way of life in the moment, our spiritual practices, our self-care, that can kind of let everything sink back in and bring us back to now. So maybe I'm calling for that a little bit.
Yeah, I really love this time of the year, and I was noticing even this morning I was kind of rushing from one thing to another, and I stopped here on our campus, which is so beautiful, and this red tree was calling to me, and I was just standing there. I just wanted to go over and stand and stare at it forever, and I think it's the juxtaposition of that desire just to kind of chill, but knowing I got to get in there, I got to get this done, I got to get that done, I got to make this call, I got all that to-do stuff calling me, the Kairos time and the no time.
Yeah. Yes, the Chronos, right? Yes.
Yeah. The Chronos time and the Kairos time. Yeah.
I like that moment with the tree because that's always a thing for me at the end of the day is, that spiritual checklist. And one of those is, did I have a moment of awe today? Was there a moment of reverence or just anything like that? And when I've missed that, that means that I'm much more living my own reality tunnel than I am in this beautiful planet Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And when we've been doing these topics for the podcast, Michelle, we've always focused on something going on in the world, and I think the big thing on people's minds right now is the midterm elections.
Yes.
So my wife and I got our ballots, and then Gavin, who just turned our son, who just turned 18,
right.
somehow there's a ballot for him. So this will be his first election to vote in.
Oh, wonderful!
So that's exciting.
Great.
And it's such an interesting time because there's so much polarization. Sometimes that's understandable. Sometimes that's not, but just as a spiritual leader, when you open up that ballot, what are some things that cross through your mind in terms of what leads you to vote for whom or for issues or topics that you care about?
There's this really beautiful combination of, just like in everything in life, prayerfulness, a prayerful approach, praying, even before I fill out that ballot, but also the gathering of information. It's so easy to be led around by the nose by all the ads and all of the fluff and all of the anger and all of the attack that goes on. And I really want to be an informed voter. So I know that I want to make it a sacred experience. So I think Ken and I will sit down likely sometime this weekend. We'll get a good cup of coffee or something good to drink, and we will go through the issues, especially on the ballot here in our area, look them over. We'll probably debate them a little bit, and then we'll both fill out our ballot. So that's important to me. And so it's that combination of prayerfulness and guidance while also being an informed voter and not just listening to the surface life.
Yeah. Well, I love that word you used, sacred.
Yeah.
Can we view, even if we're disgusted at times with some politicians or the systems here or there, can we still see that voting itself is a sacred tool? And, whatever side of the aisle that you're on, I mean, that question of the long-term future of democracy in our country has been in question. And I think to stop and pause and to say that voting can be a sacred action, and when we do it consciously, and when we can, even if we're pessimistic about how some things are going on around us, still be on the side of hopefulness, of wanting to move things forward, as opposed to just throwing away the ballot and saying this is
Yeah.
useless, or they're all they're all part of the swamp, or whatever the terms are that we want to use.
Yeah.
And for me, and this may be controversial too, is to not get too caught up in the party affiliation of the name. Is to and it doesn't mean that I might not vote for more for one party than other, but am I willing, I love what you said about being informed, to just try and see who this person is, beyond their rank and file, to see if there's something there that might be more in alignment with something that I believe in, or with a sense of character or virtue that politician may represent, that may cause me to maybe vote beyond where I might just automatically take my pencil.
Yeah, one of the most extreme acts of separation I think we're seeing play out in the political world is the propensity to just look at the people over on the other side and say they're all bad. So I won't vote for a single one of them. If they are of the party that I don't like, they're out. And I think that is disrespectful to our democracy. It's disrespectful to our system of voting, that it requires us and demands us to sometimes be willing to say, hey, this person who's in a party that I like isn't as experienced, or isn't bringing things to the table as powerfully as this other person who may not be in the party that I wouldn't choose, but I'm going to make that choice because I want to be an informed and conscious voter, and that matters. It's almost like people want to say my vote doesn't matter, but the energy with which we vote contributes to the whole in a big way. And that's our teaching, right? Everything we do, we're contributing to the whole experience with our energy. So it's important to stay out of that separation. I think you've brought that up in a very powerful way.
Yeah, it's good to look at that. And, I've always loved midterm elections. Normally they're not as popular as general elections, but they're just as important.
Yes.
And, one, positive consequence of all the chaos and the rancor and et cetera is people pay more attention than perhaps they were. And so I hope the turnout's larger, but I get people who, want to vote for more Democrats or more Republicans as they want the Republicans to have the House or the Senate or vice versa. And, I think that's something to consider. But I love when we can put character first. And, I think sometimes for those who are unhappy with some of the politicians, they say they can, probably relate a lot of that to people voting for the R or the D as opposed to the person that's behind it. And I do think that in our philosophy, we believe in strong individuals, but people who don't forget that we're all one, and that we have to care for all of us. And so I think that's an important thing, is having people that think for themselves and aren't likely to make a vote unconsciously just because someone tells them to. That's an important factor always for me in looking at those votes. And I don't even know the propositions that are up, but here in Colorado, I think the biggest one is we want wine in our grocery
the
stores.
Liquor. Yep.
Yes.
We want to have liquor available.
And so, to take a brave political stand, I'm probably going to vote for that one.
I think I probably will too.
I think it's always good to pay attention to those things as well. But, again, getting back to that sacred element, to be able to take our ballot. I love that. Pray a little bit before we open it. Be prayerful while we're filling it out, and to turn it in prayerfully as well. And to, try to have that spirit that even if people disagree with us, to know that there's a lot to be proud in when our election works well. I think that was one of the things that was disappointing for me in 2020 is, no matter what party or who you voted for, the amount of people that voted for Joe Biden and president at the time, Trump, was just tremendous. Yeah. It was kind of awe-inspiring, and it so went down the tube so quick with the challenges and all of that. But it was really impressive to have. And so even if you were unhappy with the results, I think that an objective person can stand back and go, wow, a lot of people participated in this process. And our country being such a huge ship, it's hard to make change happen right away. But I think as more and more people, especially our young people, or I think of my son, get involved right away and pay attention, I think that can do a lot towards steering us slowly in better and better directions.
Yes. Is he excited about this opportunity to vote? Is he?
I think he's probably more in that pessimistic camp,
Okay,
but I
yeah.
think it will be good to open up and kind of watch him and talk about some of the little principles that that we talked about here as well. And I think there's that aspect too. And, oh, I dislike this Republican or I dislike this Democrat. It takes a lot for these people to run for
It
office.
does.
And, I think we have to see past the surface of the polarization and say, there's a person here who's sacrificing, their peace of mind. You think
Right.
about the amount of criticism they get.
Oh, not only just criticism, but just unfounded attack
Yeah.
to their beingness.
They have to
Yeah.
ask for money all the
Oh,
time,
yes.
which is, as ministers, we enjoy that, but
Oh,
that's not
yeah.
always the funnest
Yeah.
part of the
No,
job.
not at all.
And to work towards that. So I hope it's a good, just like you said, I hope my son takes the time to get informed, to be prayerful, and I want to support him in who he votes for, as long as he knows what it is, even if it's different from my
Of course.
perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good. That's exciting.
Well, it's great to talk to everybody. Is there anything at Mile High Church that you're really looking forward to in November?
Oh, well, of course, the very first Friday night of November, we have Rhonda Britton showing up here to do a workshop with us. And I think she's going to come and talk about a really huge topic for people, which is self-worth and self-love and acceptance. She calls it the self-acceptance celebration. And it's really all about, no matter how you're feeling, what age you're at, how you look, what's going on in your body, what's going on in your life, can you love and accept yourself? And that's a foundational notion of success in the world. In fact, there are many philosophers and teachers who say that's the only thing that really counts when it all comes down to it, is can you love and accept yourself? And so she's going to take us through a process. I took a class with her and that was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that, as well as our Thanksgiving service, which is one of my favorite services of the year.
Yes, I love
Thanksgiving Day.
The kickoff of holiday season. And one of the things that I love is so many of our Make a Difference, our community service projects kick off. So we have a big food drive that we're doing, and then the giving tree, and all the events that we do, including our pumpkin patch for Habitat for Humanity. If you do the math in terms of money that we receive and items that people bring, it's well over $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so great to get to be a part of that, and working on a message that I'm kind of excited about. Sometimes as a minister, I've given 30 Thanksgiving talks, but my topic for November 20th is how do you gratitude? And I'm thinking a lot about, do I spend a lot of time giving thanks for what was, what is, and what does it mean to begin giving thanks now for what might be? And so I've been sitting with this question of how do you gratitude? And so I'm happy to figure out some options and share them with the congregation on the 20th.
That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. Well,
and it's also, you and April have an anniversary, and Ken and I have an anniversary in November. So happy anniversary.
Thanksgiving marriages.
Yes,
so yes,
yes.
it reminds us to give thanks.
Exactly.
Well, I'm grateful for you, Michelle, and
Thank
hope you have a great
too.
rest of your week. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.